Chapter 14, the EDL 2.0, No Filter. Looking back, there's a ton I'd do differently if we had to restart the EDL, but you gotta understand, it was a spur-of-the-moment street movement, pure and simple. We'd just post demo dates on Facebook, act on impulse. Mostly my impulse, whenever we saw some wild politically correct nonsense going down. It was kinda innocent, kinda naive, no grand plan, no political agenda, just a bunch of us mad as hell about what was happening in our cities, our towns, our country. Let's be real, Tommy Robinson was never trying to be PM, unlike Dudley North's Tory candidate, Afzal Amin, who had some seriously sketchy connections. But I'll say this till my last breath. It was never about racism. We hated the BNP and all those far-right weirdos just as much as we hated Saiful Islam and his crew. We were anti-Muslim extremism, not anti-Muslim people. But let's be real, some of the issues in their community needed addressing, and staying silent wasn't helping anyone. Like, is it even controversial to say that if we're all in this together, they should step up too? The so-called silent majority can't just sit back forever. Fast forward to late 2015, and every week there's a new headline. Another grooming gang scandal involving Muslim men. Another council or police force looking the other way. Another group of young guys running off to join ISIS. Just recently, a family of 12 from Luton dipped out to Syria. Good riddance. Right after that, Barnardo's said they warned the authorities way back in 2008 about grooming gangs. The EDL called it out, but did anyone listen? Nah. And now some random bureaucrat in Buckinghamshire is giving a half-assed apology, like, oops, our bad, we know more now than we did then. Bruh. And let's be real, if you even mention this stuff publicly, there's a whole queue of people ready to cancel you, label you racist, and act like you just dropped a hate crime. And if your name is Tommy Robinson, multiply that by 1,000. Honestly, I don't know if it's ignorance or just straight-up stupidity. Maybe both. If this country actually ends up as an Islamic state like extremists want, it won't be because of them. It'll be because of the people who bent over backwards to let it happen. Like, be real with yourself. Do you actually see the UK turning into this perfect, multicultural, we're all besties society? Yeah, didn't think so. Not if history tells us anything. We let half the Muslim population, women, get treated like second-class citizens by their medieval men, and our so-called human rights activists won't even whisper about it. But yeah, sure, let's all just keep dreaming about that peaceful one-nation future. Total madness. Oh, and those UAF, Unite Against Fascism traitors? They love defending radical Islam, but if Sharia law ever takes over, guess what? They'll be next in line. The rise of the EDL. From 2009 to 2010, the EDL was booming. We kicked off in Manchester and Leeds, then Stoke, Bolton, Dudley. Thousands of people showed up. The movement took off like wildfire. We had locals reaching out from all over, Plymouth, Newcastle, asking for help, whether it was about another massive mosque project or their kids getting attacked or groomed. We showed up. There was even an EDL youth division started by a mixed-race London lad, Joel Titus. But we lost him after some football hooligan drama. Nothing to do with us, but he got slapped with a 10-year ASPO, so that was that. Keeping the far-right weirdos away was a constant struggle. From day one, we had solid patriots backing us, but with the movement growing, so did the problems. Biggest mistake? Not setting up a proper membership system or having a steady cash flow. Half the time, it was just me and Kev funding everything. Banners, hoodies, transport. The real MVP, one person who deserves all the credit, Helen Gower. Absolute legend. She was basically my surrogate mom and personal attack dog rolled into one. Even now, she still calls to make sure I'm handling my business. She got involved through Gurmeet Singh, our Sikh leader, who honestly had bigger balls than me when it came to calling out Islam. The stuff he said? Next level. We also had Nemesis, a dude who only went by a nickname and wrote high-level counter-jihad blogs. Smart as hell, anti-Nazi, anti-racist, but also fully aware of the dangers of Islamism. Honestly, at one point I thought he was MI5. Guy had a shitty call center job by day, but was out here dropping intellectual bombs by night. The drama and betrayals. As the movement got bigger, so did the BS. Dudes with zero leadership skills suddenly thought they were hotshots. Some of them wouldn't be able to run a Tesco till, let alone lead a movement. By 2012, the infighting was insane. Every week, someone was beefing about who should be in charge. We had far-right extremists trying to infiltrate, plus undercover cops, media plants, and MI5 agents. At one point, I even had some Hells Angels dude roll up like he was gonna take over. Spoiler alert, he didn't. By Walthamstow 2012, it was chaos. Police screwed us over, trapped our supporters miles away, and let UAF thugs and radical Muslims pelt us with bricks and bottles. Then my own people got mad at me, thinking I left them hanging. It was too much. I had zero personal life, I was exhausted, and it felt like I was babysitting thousands of drunk lads who just wanted a Saturday piss-up. By Walsall, I'd had enough. I flew out to Slovenia for a stag do, ignoring the nonstop calls about how I had to come back or the movement would collapse. Eventually, I caved and flew back, but I was mentally checked out. The final straw. The police were on me 24/7, tracking everything. I pulled off one last stunt, rolling up to a demo disguised as a rabbi. Yeah, really. But they weren't having it. By 2013, I knew the EDL was over for me. The movement had become unmanageable, infiltrated by bad actors, and I was burnt out. They locked me up for passport fraud, long story, and honestly, that time in prison saved my life.